Alright, sweet. Hello, everyone. This is Sean Plott, aka Day 9, presenting to you the second Day 9 Daily. So, I'm trying to make this an actual daily thing where I come on every night and talk about StarCraft, because why would I not do that, right? And first of all, I need to let everyone know that I'm growing out my beard, because I'm going as Wolverine for Halloween, and this is 4 days of not shaving. So, we're very, very hairy here in the Plott family. So, without further ado, let's just talk about what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to be watching Flash vs. Hero on Heartbreak Ridge. This is a game a lot of people talked about. They said that Flash did really amazing multitask play, and I'm really excited to see exactly how it went, because I did watch the game, but I sort of did it out of the corner of my eye. I was coding and had it up on the screen. And, again, as I've done in previous casts, I'm going to pick a player to do the cast from the point of view of, because there's so much analysis to do all the time. It's a lot easier to pick someone and talk about specifically that player. I'll naturally be talking about Hero and his Zerg play and what he wants to do, but mainly I'm going to be focusing on Flash, because he won. So, without further ado, check out my awesome transitions. Okay, sweet. Let's go ahead and start this game. I'm going to drink a little bit of water. Okay, sweet. So we have Heartbreak Ridge, with Flash spawning at the left position and Hero spawning at the right. Now that we have those things established, let's briefly look at the map that's somewhere here. There we go. So the most important thing to note when we see Heartbreak Ridge is this little split here for Hero. So Hero's naturally going to be expanding to his natural, but to get up to this expansion, you kind of have to awkwardly come forward and defend this spoke. And there's a lot of movement that you can do along this top end, or that you can swing up from the bottom. Moreover, if you control this portion, you worry about troop movement up here. But mainly, it's this spoke right here that we're concerned about. And if you listen to my earlier podcast about Fantasy and his amazing Terran vs. Zerg play on Heartbreak Ridge, one of the main things I talked about is how difficult the mid-game can be. And that once Zerg gets his Defiler Lurker-Ling combo set up, it's a really tough place for Terran to be in. So Terran needs to punish Zerg either before he does that, or punish him really hard as he's doing that. So Fantasy focused more on punishing the Zerg with a really fast late-game army, where he was able to get vessels and tanks really quickly. But we're going to see in this game that Flash opts to be super aggressive in the mid-game and take advantage of the fact that there's not really very much that Flash can do. Let me try it again. There's not really much that Hero can do if Flash is multitasking really well. Here's a really important thing to note already. Notice this scout pattern that the Overlord's taking. A lot of people, when they get their first Overlord, they just send it straight to the opponent's base. And on some maps that makes sense. Like on Python, we have a ridge that you can place the Overlord on top of to look at any attack that's going to be coming soon. But most importantly, your Overlord should always move somewhere that's going to be of advantage to you. If you send the Overlord straight across, does that give you the advantage you need? It might, but a lot of Zergs worry about some sort of proxy BS coming up here. So they scout directly north to check out what's going on. And there was actually a handful of Jaedong games where Jaedong sends his first Overlord in this outrageous direction that happens to be exactly where his opponent does a proxy. So those are things to be thinking about right at the start of the game as Zerg. Like, are you assuming too much when you're just sending out that first Overlord? And thankfully I timed that oh so well, because nothing that important has happened in the meantime. We see that By Hero is doing a very standard 2-base play, just almost certainly going for Mutalisks. Normally we'd see the gas a little bit earlier if he's going for Lurkers, but everything seems very Mutalisk-like. And there's Hero looking very prepubescent, because he is. Flash doing the very standard thing. He's going to be 1 Rax expanding on this map. I really like that. Because it's so hard to secure a third, especially as Terran, the best way to secure a third is just to have a lot of units. And obviously the best way to get a lot of units in the mid-game is to early expand. So just some things to think about, because a lot of times people just go into autopilot and they don't consider everything that they're doing, when really you should. I mean, a lot of times the answers will be obvious. And a lot of times if you see an Overlord, for instance, you should kill it instead of walking away. But no big deal. Flash is Flash. He probably just wanted to give Hero an extra fighting chance. So yeah, just to relate this back to some other maps, for instance, Python would be another good case where you should be early expanding a lot as Terran, because third bases are very hard to hold as Terran. You're going to need a lot of units in the mid-game. So it's really important to do exactly what Flash is doing, in particular against a 2-hatchery fast gas player. You need to know if he's going Mutalisks or Hydralisk Den. Most of the time you're going to know this anyways, but because your opponent is getting that layer so fast, your opponent needs to get the Hydralisk Den or the Spire out very early, so by scouting around, you're almost guaranteed to know what he's doing. So Flash didn't see anything, so he's probably going to go ahead and just assume that his opponent's going Mutalisks, and if he's concerned at all about the Den, he's just going to be scanning this expansion here. Just the natural, because that's the only part he didn't get a spot of. And the next time that we end up getting a look at the expansion, I want to talk a little bit about this bunker placement. It looks like it's going to be pretty soon. Zerg's doing everything totally normally, by the way. Notice how wonderful this bunker placement is. I just absolutely love this. He has enough space here that he can get a little bit of maneuverability for his own units. He has the remainder of his Marines up north. Actually pop up here so you can see me talk about this. He has the remainder of his units up north at his really tiny narrow choke. But if you look here at this awesome bunker placement, this means that any Zerglings that sneak around the side here, they can't really pick off any SCVs. Also, if there's any Mutalisk harassing, that's a little bit of extra fire that Marines are going to be able to contribute to this. So this is ideal. A lot of players end up building it a little bit farther forward here, so it touches the ComSat, or sometimes they build it a little bit farther forward here because they don't want to get pinned back. But since you're going for a really big mid-game army, it's okay to put it back that far because it's assumed that you're going to be pushing forward with the rest of your units. It's the early game that bunker's really necessary for. And of course the remainder of his Marines are going to be up at that north choke blocking everything off in case of any sort of Ling run-by. And as a result, a big danger of early expanding is that your Marines could get surrounded. But by having the bunker at that exact position and having, oops, I'm still on screen. By having the bunker at that exact position, having the Marines back there, not only do you prevent Ling run-by, but you prevent them from overwhelming your front. So really, really, really nice placement by Flash. I can dig it. Meanwhile, Flash is doing everything totally, totally normally. He added on the second barracks, he's getting the engineering bay, he's getting academy units, and he's going to be firing a little bit at these Zerglings only when he gets the right amount of Marines. He didn't poke out too early. A lot of Terran players will build the bunker, have 3 or 4 Marines, and they'll immediately start to poke out to try to pick them off, but there's absolutely no need to do that. So here's a really good timing, a good move-out attack timing for Flash. Hold on, I'm going to drink a little bit of water. Water's so delicious in Los Angeles. So yeah, notice this timing that Terran's moving out with. He doesn't even come back with this Ling counterattack. He's just going to go ahead and push straight forward, because the way he's going to defend against this 2-hatch Mutalisk is by keeping the Mutalisks up closer to Zerg's base. So he continues to push forward, and a lot of players are saying, well, isn't he worried that maybe he'll lose all of these Marines? And keep that in the back of your mind, because we're definitely going to address that in a little bit. So look right now, wonderful control by Hero. He's going to miss a few shots here. I saw, yes, he's missing a few shots. He really, really shouldn't do that. That Marine group should be dead. But everything is somewhat normal by Hero, but let me briefly address what is not normal by Hero. Hero did not make any Lings with speed beyond his first 4. He opted to get a lot of drones, which allows him to get this third gas super, super, super fast. So whether Flash accounted for that or not, this is still a really good attack timing, because if too many Zerglings are out, he's still going to have to... the Zerg is still going to have to hit Flash right up here. And if the Zerg did opt to make all those Zerglings and Mutalisks to kill that off really easily, then he's behind on this expansion. So really, all Flash is trying to do is make sure that this expansion up north gets messed with as much as possible early on. So indeed, we see Hero taking out the remainder of the Marines. And a lot of players at this point, especially in Zerg's position, think, alright, yeah, I got him. But here's something to consider. Whenever you're being really aggressive in the way that Flash is, you don't have to spend that extra money on supply depots. So you can end up with more units than you'd normally have. And this is exactly what Flash is doing. He's pushing out a little more aggressively, and he's getting those 4 barracks. A lot of players will go 4 barracks and build up enough units until they have their science vessel, and then they'll move out, feeling much more comfortable that way. However, Flash is going to be moving out as aggressively as possible with these 4 barracks, and he's getting things really quickly as well, because again, he doesn't have to worry about replenishing so many supply depots, because he is losing some units here. And the reason that this is okay, I mean, I don't want to just suggest that you should always be throwing away tons of units, so that way you don't have to build supply depots. But the fact is, he's trading some units here in order to prevent Mutalisk harass. So Flash is not having his economy damaged at all. He's keeping these Mutalisks at bay. In a sense, these movements, currently, are defensive in nature. By pushing so far forward, these Mutalisks have to be pulled back. If this Zerg was going 3-hatch, Terran could not do this because there's so many Zerglings and other units that could be out with those Mutalisks to kill off the Zerglings, or to kill off the Marines. There we go. Sometimes I talk a little bit too fast for my own good. Shouldn't do that. So look, these Mutalisks still have not gotten the chance to poke into Flash's base at all. A lot of Terrans increasingly are liking really early aggressive pushes with their Marines against 2-hatch play, because it negates the aggressive advantage of 2-hatch. Now all of a sudden the 2-hatch has to be defensive. And these, oh god, those medics should be dead. Dude, someone's messaging me on AIM. Closing it? Yeah, I'm sure I want to close it. So sorry, I need to rewind that a little bit because I was so unprofessional and left my chat software open. So these 2 medics should be dead. Way too often Zerg players obsess about the fact that they can use hold position and it sprays out with the fire. That's really useful against Marines because Marines get bunched up right there. But if you're against a medic, a unit you do specifically want to target, for God's sake, right-click on it so you can be guaranteed to kill it. If you hit hold position here, and even one of these Marines hits the Mutalisks, these Mutalisks will all of a sudden not target the medics. And you'll hit hold position, and maybe one will fire, but chances are none of them will fire. And you will have wasted your time hitting hold position and being all Gosu. Just right-click and kill it. That's not bad. Hold position is not what should replace attack. It is another technique that you can use with Mutalisks. So right now, this should be a significantly weaker force. But that's only because those 2 medics should be dead. But look at this. Flash is continuing to reinforce. He's continuing to push up along the top lane because that's where Zerg really is feeling weak. He needs to defend that spoke so he can protect his natural, and he needs to defend this top part so he can defend his expansion. Wonderful, wonderful play by Flash. Absolutely love it. Especially love his choice to go 4 barracks so he can continue being as aggressive as possible. So look, here are the lurkers here. So finally Zerg is able to hold all this stuff off. Zerg's having a big sigh of relief. Zerg's going, oh, thank God, I managed to hold this off, and the fact that I got this ultra-early expansion is paying off for me, because now I finally have the gas to help out. But of course, Flash knows that Zerg is going to be really, really comfortable in the late game. So the only logical things to do are to try to find any little chinks in this defense. So, he's going to continue being aggressive with this army. And again, that wonderful, amazing bunker placement is going to allow Flash to continue to be so aggressive. Because, again, if there's any Mutalisk harass that goes on here, or even any Zerglings that come in, everything's already pumped right there to defend it. And look at this. Totally amazing split by Flash. And this is a really easy thing to do. A lot of players tend to panic at the fact that Zerg has moved out with lurkers. A lot of Terrans think, oh, well now I have to retreat until I get science vessels. Sometimes true. If you're as aggressive as Flash has been, then you know lurkers have not advanced any farther than this spoke. So that way you can pull your units back up along this backside towards this mineral expansion at the north, and then you can cut all the way across here. And all you have to do is scan. Because if you see 2 or 3 lurkers, which is exactly what Flash did, you can totally go for it. If not, you just retreat and maintain a presence in the center of the map, which is exactly where you want to be. So now very clearly, this is a nice position for Flash to be in, because he's getting to run into this expansion. This is obviously bad for Zerg, but Zerg did take this expansion much, much earlier than normal. So all the Korean commentators are freaking out and everything, and this is a significant amount of damage, but Zerg is not screwed at this point. Zerg has just taken a pretty big hit on drones, but those are I want to call them bonus drones. I don't know if that's appropriate, but normally Zergs don't take their expansion this fast, so they don't get all the extra economy that Hero was able to get this game. And the whole reason I bring that up is not to convince Zerg players, like, oh, it's totally okay to lose your expansion. I wouldn't want to, say that at all. Instead, what I'm trying to say is that if you do take a hit like that, you shouldn't freak out or panic about it by any means. So let's stop for a minute and think about what Flash is doing, because he's being really aggressive, but he's not being aggressive for no reason, like July does when he loses. He's doing it because it's all part of a game plan that takes advantage of this map. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. If we look at what Flash has been doing, he's been moving all his units. Actually, let me open up the map over here. If you notice, he's been moving all his units along this top lane and focusing all the efforts on dragging Zerg up here. When you go 3-hatch on 3 bases, the way Hero did, you don't have a lot of units to defend. You pretty much just have Mutalisks and Lurkers. So pretty much all of Zerg's efforts have to be devoted to defending this top spoke. And Terran is going to continue pounding on this top side, and you'll notice right when this thing gets finished off, ta-da! We have another dropship moving right into the Zerg space. Again, this dropship is not jammed into Flash's play. He didn't just say, I want to get a dropship this game. He focused on being super, super aggressive towards the top, which allows him to have a very well-defended dropship, in a sense. That dropship is very safe and secure. Almost no chance that that dropship is going to be dying to Mutalisks or Scourge, because all those Mutalisks and Scourge are focused on being up here. And this is even awesomer. Look at this. Fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful job by Flash. He's just slowly pulling back. Now, that did a lot of damage. You'll note that all these drones were pulled back. He was able to kill off 3 or 4 lurkers. Great job. But what's most important to see is the minimap. Look at this. Just take a moment and stare at this minimap. Let me actually take a moment and zoom in on this minimap. Look at this, okay? Take a look at this minimap. Zerg has no units anywhere in the middle. He has an Overlord that's totally vulnerable and an Overlord that isn't going to spot a damn thing. That's all Zerg has in the middle of the map in the mid-game. What sort of Zerg wants to be in that position? That's the worst thing possible. All Zergs gear their play specifically towards having Lurkers here and Mutalisks here so they can continue to delay Terran's attacks until Defilers arrive. But now look, Terran has free walking space. He distracted the Zerg up here with these things, with these Marines. He distracted Zerg down here with this drop. And oh my god, look right here. There's absolutely no units in Terran's way. This is going to allow Flash to be even more aggressive than he would have been. So let's go ahead and zoom back in with the amazing software I'm using. Oops, I should probably zoom back in so that way you can't see the progress bar on YouTube. Because, oh man, I hate spoilers. Increase the size just a little bit more. And then go ahead and resume the play. But again, aggression, not just for the sake of aggression. Aggression because it has a purpose. Now here's one little tool that Zerg's using to try to delay the push even more. He's using these lurkers to try to pull the Terran back. But watch how Terran responds. He pulls all this stuff back, but notice the bulk of this army is not somehow retreating. Flash hung out for a little bit, made sure he didn't need to pull everything back, and then he just went ahead and went for it. Because all of Flash's play, again, is geared towards preventing the Zerg from getting any sort of mid-game control. Because that's always what Zerg has, is an incredible amount of mid-game control. If he waited too long to move out with these units, he wouldn't be able to take advantage of what he'd set up. So look at that. Wonderful job by Flash. And now he has a free lane to push up here. This is a total desperation move by the Zerg. Absolutely wonderful job by Flash. Love this. This aggressive play that allows his mid-game push to be a little bit delayed, but significantly more effective. Watch how quickly these units are going to move north. And think about how slowly those units, or excuse me, east, I guess. Watch how slowly the units would have gone in another game. They'd have to stop at all these spokes because there'd be all these lurkers on top. But now Flash just gets to walk really, really, really quickly. Totally awesome. Also, another thing to consider is the fact that Flash may have gotten a little bit of extra money that he wouldn't have had to spend on those supply depots. He now gets to spend on that dropship. A lot of times the fact that you've lost those units allows you more opportunities to be aggressive, and food is one example of that. So, you know, it's really funny, this little elevator technique right here, because this reminds me a lot of Terran vs. Terrans on this map, where you use this spoke that touches your opponent's main to push in. But here's another way that Flash is going to take advantage of this terrain. He's going to drop in here and pull even more units back. Again, allowing him to push his main army a little bit farther forward. He doesn't obsess about pushing into the Zerg's main. He is just trying to drag enough units back there so that he can push up into the front. Now let me spend a minute to talk about what Hero's doing. This is really, really, really good by Hero. Hero's doing exactly what Zergs want to do on this map. Get the Defiler really quickly, and then do a whole lot of counterattacking and moving down around the Terran's army with Lurkers and Defilers. Because you can defend whatever lane Terran is pushing up, and then you can counterattack along the open lane. Really, really good technique to do. And that's exactly what Hero's going to take advantage of here. So, these can be potentially threatening for Terran, because a lot of times you don't have that many units. That's part of the reason why I loved Fantasy's play on this map so much, is Fantasy was able to place mines on the opposing lane while he pushed up the other. That way, he had to worry less about these sorts of counterattacks. But either way, Flash is doing a really good job of saying, yeah, if you want to push up here, that's fine. You'll eventually run out of energy and lurkers and defilers because you're going to need to be bringing all your units back to deal with this aggressive dropping and this big push that's coming along the way. And note how significant the decision is to move along this bottom lane as opposed to the top one. Most players are moving along the top lane in a lot of circumstances to try to get a chance to kill off this top expansion. But this plays perfectly into the position that Flash is. He has total control of the mid-game, and he wants to keep dragging these units back. That's how he's going to combat that really strong Lurker Lane Defiler on this map. So notice Hero's still trying to push forward, exactly as he should be. And actually, it's so significant that Zerg's able to do this, that Flash actually began to bring all his units back. But of course, once he kills off the threat, now he's totally going to start pushing. No reason to pull back. And of course, because the third base is so hard to hold, he's not taking it yet. He wants to get in an unbelievably aggressive situation where Zerg is really far pushed back before it's going to be safe. And look at this. It doesn't take all his army. He takes part of it and then takes the other half and goes up the other lane. Again, totally reasonable way to hold off the counterattack. And it's most effective to do this when Zerg's already low on units, which is exactly the way that Hero has been all game long, ever since Flash started being really, really aggressive with that first 2 barracks push. So we have some more drop action going on. No big deal that this doesn't succeed, because look how many places Flash is hitting Hero all at once. Really, really great play by Flash. Totally solid. Never got harassed once all game long. Just kept pushing more and more and more forward until Hero had to give up. Wasn't that totally awesome? And aren't these transitions totally awesome? Alright, let's go back and look at the screen. Because let's just do a brief review of it. Because we're going to focus again on the most important part of any StarCraft game, the minimap. So you can learn so much just by watching the minimap in games. So we see here that Flash opens up with the most normal thing possible. Early expand off one barracks. And he continues to move forward, and the instant those Mutalisks are about to move out, so do the Marines. Another really good example of this timing is Kanata versus Savior on this same map. Almost exact same timing. In fact, Kanata almost won with this sort of early push. So we see these Mutalisks moving out. Now watch how the green looks in the middle of the map. It never moves close to Flash's half. It's getting a little bit there after this Mutalisk group gets taken out, but Flash just keeps pushing right up on north. He's moving back and forth a little bit. But look at that. No units are getting a chance to poke into Flash's main at all. As we move forward, we see Flash moving his blob around the middle of the map. So see here, he's trying to push up to this first spoke, but lurkers get there, and he just goes ahead and wanders right around and starts moving up to the north side. Another thing you should have probably picked up right now is the fact that Flash was reinforcing a lot when his army was here, but the instant it starts to get up here, he's going to be reinforcing a lot less. So here Flash moves forward. Okay, so look at this. Watch the minimap. Watch these units, these Mutalisks, beeline back, just sprinting back. And then watch the dropship head straight. It's amazing. Yeah, look at that. Look, here's the dropship. It's going to fly straight. It doesn't have to go down here and hide from Scourge. All the units are up here anyways. Hero may have seen the dropship, but what is he going to do about it? He just lost all his Mutalisks. And there's the dropship coming right in. Finally gets to hold this off. And look, here comes Flash's push. Nothing in the middle. Here's a handful of lurkers and Zerglings that were going to be there to maybe hold off something, but nothing's even pushing up that lane. So there's virtually nothing that these lurkers are going to be able to do. So man, wonderful play by Flash. Watch as he just continues to push forward, and watch how little green's able to get across the map. Really, really, really great job by Flash. And that wraps up the first totally lag-free, crash-free stream. That was totally awesome. I'm about to hit 30 minutes, which is so cool because it almost feels like it's a TV show, right? Except there were no advertisements, just Day 9 and StarCraft. Best way TV should be. So, yeah, I'm going to actually definitely start doing these things daily. It's going to appear. Probably take weekends off, obviously, because you know me, I'm a huge baller with my nightlife. I can't have these things interrupting it. But I'll probably be doing some on the weekends, too. So yeah, definitely hope you start tuning in. I'm going to get verified soon, so then hopefully I'll be able to build up an enormous repertoire, and you guys can tune in to Day 9 Daily. Cheers, everyone!